Lincoln's regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight's meeting will be televised and available on cable channel 18, YouTube, and Zoom.
Very much. Call the roll, please.
Thank you. Councilmember Andriotta,
I am present.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund, absent. Mayor Pearl,
Here.
Councilmember Reedy, absent, and Councilmember Brown.
Okay, good. In with case that, we will, do we have to call for public comment first on this? That's right. Okay. Do we have anyone in the audience? Rhetorical question. All right, fine. Online, Zoom.
There are no participants through Zoom.
All right, very good. In that case, Mr. White, we can adjourn then to the closed session. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for closed session, we have two items. First item is conference with labor negotiators for employee organization classified and local 39 employee group. Second item is conference with legal counsel anticipated litigation, 2 cases.
All right, anything else? So we're adjourned.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Lincoln's regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight's meeting will be televised and available on Cable Channel 18, YouTube, and Zoom. Those wishing to address City Council on either a non-agenda or agenda item will be called upon at the appropriate time. Those who submitted a speaker card will be called first, followed by those in the audience, and finally those attending through Zoom. For those participating through Zoom that wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if you are calling in. Once public comment is open, please wait to be unmuted by the city clerk. Once unmuted, your name will be called and you may proceed in making your public comment. This evening's invocation will be given by Pastor Mark Shepard from Grace Life Church. Once the invocation has concluded, Mayor Pearl will call the meeting to order.
And concerning the business matters at hand, Lord, may you give them guidance and wisdom as they move forward to continue to build and strengthen and look out for the best interests of the city of Lincoln and all the local citizens that they represent. We ask for your grace and your favor upon their decision-making, and we ask this in Jesus' name, amen. God bless you.
Okay. Clerk?
Thank you. We'll go ahead and do roll call. Councilmember Andreotta.
Present.
Councilmember Reedy.
Present.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund.
Here.
Mayor Pearl.
Here. Mr. DeRocher, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance.
Mr. Mayor, just a reminder, can we go to report from closed session?
Well, let's see. Christie, you're going to be giving the report from closed session, and just for some of the people in the audience might know, we do have new counsel here today. We will bring their contract forward as part of the agenda later today. Our former city attorney, Christine Molikoff, has resigned. She was with us for 8 years. She did very good service, friend to many of us, but sometimes life moves on, and so we're very pleased to have the council that we have today. So thank you very much. And Christie?
By a vote of 5-0 votes, City Council tonight authorized a settlement with Hartford Insurance Company for the amount of $40,000, which was related to the former landfill site, and all other closed session matters, direction was given to staff.
Yep, we're good. Okay, agenda modifications. Have any of our staff?
Yes, Mayor. One modification on item 12I, which is the memorandum of understanding with the Friends of the Lincoln Public Library. We had a clerical error, and the MOU was not attached to your printed and posted packet. So we've created a bunch of copies here for anybody to review. You each have one at the dais. It's actually normally we'd pull the item and push it to another meeting, but it's actually a very brief and simple document. It's only a page. So if we could have you consider that separate of the total decision, just so that if there's any questions on it, we can answer them.
Tracy, do you want to pull it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be considered individually.
And then, Mr. Mayor, I do have one more modification. It's really light. Thanks. In regards to item 12E, I'd like to read the modified agenda title post-publication. The new title will read, Adopt a Resolution Approving Liberty at Lincoln Village 1 Improvement Plans, Liberty at Lincoln Village 1A and 1B Final Maps, authorizing the execution of the subdivision improvement agreements for Liberty at Lincoln Village 1A and 1B, and authorizing the recording of final map and the subdivision improvement agreements for Village 1A and 1B.
Okay. Congratulations.
Go up to the podium for this one.
Thank you, Ms. Racker.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. So this evening, we are ready to present the city's 24-25 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, also known, I'm sorry, yeah, I said it right, as the ACFR. And providing that presentation virtually is the managing partner of MUN LLP CPAs, Justin. And Justin, I believe you're online. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And if you want to
Sure.
go ahead and share your screen and begin your presentation.
Will do. Thank you.
You can see your presentation now.
Does need to mention here to present the audit results for the last fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. One thing I'd like to remind members of management as well as council members is that management is responsible for the financial statement presentation. And then it's our job as the auditor to come in and form an independent opinion on those financials to let the users know whether or not they're fairly stated. So that's the goal or objective of a financial statement audit, is to form an opinion on the numbers of the financials themselves. So a little bit about our audit process. We began the audit back in June. This is our interim field work. We break up our field work into two different phases. The interim field work we usually do May, June, July. And a lot of what we're doing here is we're starting to plan for the audit. We look at council minutes since the prior year audit, talk to members of management, do a different inquiry to see major things that have been going on in the city. And then another big part of this is looking at the city's internal controls. And so I listed out the major areas that we're looking at here. We're looking at cash receipts, or revenue that comes into the city, disbursements and expenses that flow out, the payroll, HR functions. And as we're going through each of these different areas, really what we're looking for in terms of your internal controls are things like segregation of duties. You don't want one person having too much control over a particular financial process. So we want to make sure those are as segregated as possible. We're also looking for things like approval of transactions, management approval of different transactions as well. So as we go through these different areas in terms of your controls, that's really what we're looking for. So it's really to make sure that you have appropriate internal controls in place, and then we can perform testing over those controls as well. Once the books are closed, a lot of financial schedules and reconciliations are completed and prepared and provided to us. We come out to do the year-end portion of our field work. And so this occurred in January. So even though the team was out there in January, we request a lot of this information up front. Allows us to do additional planning so we can get ready for that year-end field work. We provide our sample selections of areas we're going to look at to Nita and Alex and their team to make sure that they're prepared for us with all the supporting documents that we're going to look at while we're physically out at the city's offices. I put a listing of the different types of tests that we do. We do confirmation of balances. That's where we send third-party confirmations directly to financial institutions to confirm that the balances that are being reported by the city are in agreement with their records. We do a lot on cutoff testing. That's receivables, payables, and then how those relate to the revenues and expenses. And the reason we concentrate a lot of our testing on that, what that means is we're looking at transactions that occur right around your year-end date, June 30th. Oftentimes agencies are good at doing day-to-day transactions throughout the year. Now you get to a year end or a cutoff period, there's a lot of different types of entries that have to be made to make sure that things are being recorded in the proper period. So it's just considered to be higher risk. So we look at a lot of transactions right around that June 30th with several months leading up to that, and then several months into the current 26 fiscal year as well. We perform detailed test of transactions as well, and that's where we're selecting transactions directly from the city's accounting system and then requesting backup and supporting documentation for that. Also do analytical review procedures where we're looking at these are more high-level tests where we're looking at balances and different accounts over several years to see if there's any unusual fluctuations that we weren't expecting. We also do things like ratio analysis in different areas, such as average payroll per FTE, and just things like that to get comfortable with a large amount of data at a higher level. And if anything looks unusual, then we dig into that a little bit further. Also perform your single audit, which I'll talk about in a second, which is the federal audit. And then we put together the financial statements and footnotes to make sure that they're all prepared in accordance with GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. So in order to report the results of our audit, there are 5 different reports or letters that we issue. Our independent auditor's report, which is the main one that goes in front of the ACFR. Then we issue a separate government audit standards report and uniform guidance report, which is the federal report. Those go as one document, and then 2 separate letters, a management letter and audit conclusion letter. So I'll talk about each of these reports. The first one, the independent auditor's report, is part of your ACFR document. There are other things that are included in there. The middle part there, the financial section, that's the only part that's actually required by GASB. It's your basic financials, independent auditor's report, and then MD&A. The additional information, the city elects voluntarily to prepare this information as part of the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. It adds the introductory section as well as the statistical section in the back, provides the users with a lot of additional information about the city, a lot of demographic information, longer term financial information. So it's definitely more beneficial that your finance department elects to perform the additional procedures required to put all those additional reports together. So it's a pretty long report overall. I think it's about 170 pages. And as I mentioned, the independent auditor's report that goes in the front of the ACFR, this is our main report. It's our audit opinion on your financials. We have an unmodified or clean opinion, which is definitely good news. Next report we issue is the government audit standards report. The main thing about this particular report for the government audit standards is that, well, for starters, the majority of the government audit standards fall on us as your auditor. We have to have certain training in government areas for all of our staff that work on governmental audits. There's different things that we have to have in our own internal quality control process to make sure that we're performing governmental audits properly. The way that these affect you, though, is if we have any findings that we consider to be material weakness or a significant deficiency, they get reported in this particular report. Each of these, the material weakness one, this has been a repeat, which I'm sure you're all aware of. This has to do with the special assessment debt proceeds that go all the way back to 1999, I think. This will go away next year. This has been all finance has spent a lot of time over the last several years reconciling all this and then getting these proceeds back into the appropriate areas. That should be go away next year. So definitely good news there. We had to report it this one last year because there was still an adjustment to prior year numbers related to this. And then a partial repeat as a significant deficiency just with the financial close. There were some delays in getting that information to us, which caused a little bit of a delay in the audit and some additional adjustments that we had to do to the books. But I would imagine that one would go away next year as well. We did have the one finding last year related to grants, and that was implemented during the current year. So definitely some improvement overall related to those. Next report we issue is our federal single audit to uniform guidance report. Any agency in the U.S. that receives or expends more than $750,000 in federal funds in a given year has to get this additional audit. It's more compliance-based audit. We're making sure that the grant funds that are received from the federal government are being spent in accordance with the grant requirements. Good news here, we have an unmodified or clean opinion on those federal funds, which means that there are no compliance exceptions or no issues with the internal controls related to the federal funds. So again, good news there. Next separate letter we issue is the management letter. I mentioned when we're looking at your internal controls, if we have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, those get reported in that government audit standards schedule of findings. If we have things that don't rise to that level, we report them here. We're almost always going to have a couple of these in terms of recommendations on how to improve things, or if we have some minor adjustments that we had to do. Not that they're not important, but they definitely don't rise to the level of a significant deficiency or material weakness. So these had to do with appropriate classification of accounts receivable, also related to the computer loan accounts receivable. We had to make an adjustment to inventory, and then for accrued benefits, there were a couple accounts that had to be corrected by us. Again, nothing too major. These should be able to be rectified pretty easily by finance next year. Two of the prior year recommendations that we had, those were implemented. So that's something that's good news here. I mean, from a council member perspective, you'll see that, you know, the findings, that as long as they're getting implemented, our recommendations are being implemented year to year. That indicates that the finance department is concerned about making sure that things are being appropriately reconciled and corrected. The final letter we issue is our audit conclusion letter. In addition to our audit opinion and those other reports, there's certain things that we're required to communicate directly to you. And this letter accomplishes that. If there were any new accounting policies implemented during the year, which GASB seems to have statements that come out almost every year that affect your financials and require additional work for finance. This year was a fairly big one. GASB 101 affected how compensated absences, particularly sick leave, it gets reported for governments. So that had to be implemented this year. No major changes in disclosures to your footnotes. If you have any accounting estimates included in your financials, we're required to let you know what those are. Nothing unusual here. All financials are going to have some sort of estimate. We're just required to list those out. If we had any difficulties in performing the audit, we would let you know that, and there were none. A little bit of a delays, but nothing too major. It's still just March where we're presenting the final reports here. And the results were also presented to the Finance and Investment Committee last month too. No disagreements with management on any accounting issues or anything. And then we did relate that material weakness again to that special assessment debt finding, which again, that should go away. We had 4 adjustments. That's usually, we're almost always going to have a couple of audit adjustments each year to clean things up. This is a drastic improvement to 5-6 years ago or so, where we had a lot of adjustments to get the books in order. So things have definitely been looking pretty good in terms of the number of audit adjustments we're required to make sure your accounting records are correct. So overall, continued improvement in the financial results. Main thing here, we have an unmodified or clean opinion on the financials. So, good news there. Again, the material weakness and significant deficiency that we reported that were repeats again should go away next year. Clean opinion on the federal funding. The 4 recommendations for improvement on that management letter, and then just the 4 audit adjustments. My name's not Erica, that's my partner who she'd use this presentation for the Finance Committee. That
Okay,
concludes.
so thanks, Justin. Yeah, I just, I want to reiterate that this was the first year that we were in Tyler Technologies for the entire fiscal year. And changing over to a new financial system is a huge undertaking. And while the finance part is done, in fact, we just went live with utility billing in January, as many of you know. And so next year, 2027, we're looking to go live with the payroll and HR, and then finance will be done with Tyler implementations. But, switching over to a new financial system, it requires that you change pretty much everything that you're doing. The way that you process every single thing has to be reevaluated, reconsidered, and reformed. And as a result of that, a significant lift, and also the fact that the accounting department was downstaffed 50% for about half the year, we saw some of those, the second significant deficiency. But we were able to bring on and have join us an amazing accounting manager who is also a CPA and previously an auditor. So he speaks auditor. He also speaks regular people too. And he came in and jumped in feet first and was able to get the books along with the rest of the accounting team and the entire finance department ready and to the auditors. And so we are very confident that next year that the audit will look even better than this year. And that's our goal, is just to attempt for that continuous improvement, as we're dealing with the changes of the world and the systems. And so this is merely a receive and file. The council does not need to take any additional action, but if you have any questions regarding the audit report, we are happy to answer them.
One question, actually, a couple of questions. Number one, did FIAC have any issues with it? Any questions?
No, FIAC did not. We presented to them, just a small correction from what Justice said, we actually presented to them earlier this month in just a slightly draft form. We hadn't completed all the statistical sections at that time, but really wanted to get their input on the general financial statements before we brought them to council. So that was their only questions, like, when do we get the fund numbers? So I'll be sending that out to them so that they can see the stats as well.
Just as an observation, because I've been coming to city council since 2010, and I remember the bad old days when I think the list of exceptions and dings were 2 pages. I mean, it was just amazing. So to have these relatively few, relatively minor adjustments that have to be made, things are being cleaned up. It's a testament to the work that you and your staff have done, Nita, without a doubt.
And we're very, very happy that the significant or material weakness related to the bonds is now completely finished and will
Right.
never be spoken of again.
Yeah, Mayor, I was going to say the same thing, that since my time being involved, even before I was actually elected, coming to council meetings, listening to the audit reports, this right here, I know it's annoying because we want it off, and it will be next year. But I'll just echo what the mayor just said, that from the days of like 20 findings or whatever, and it was continuing year after year, it was never fixed. This, to me, it's almost as if it's perfectly clean, right? It's night and day from where we were at. And very grateful for you and your staff for their work, for continuing to just grind at it and get it done. And also just, the teamwork between councils and staff just to get us to where we are. So I'm very happy with it too. And I know that, I know you and Sean both, because we've talked about this separately, that the little one that's here still, but now the bond one's done. It's annoying because, like, we know we're there, right? We know that it's done, it's taken care of, but it still has to show up this time. But I just want you to know that we're so grateful, and that this is light years from where we used to be maybe 8-10 years ago. And it's really awesome to sit here and to see this. So thank you.
Any other comments from my colleagues?
I will add the compliments on to my staff.
Thank you, Nita. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just a reminder to open public comment. I do have someone on Zoom. Hey, Stella Greenhouse, you have been unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Hi, staff and mayor and the city council. I just wanted to echo your comments more so too in regards to this presentation that was given. The implemented items and the normal doing as business, and still coming out with less findings, much less findings, and the report from the auditors. I just wanted to tell our staff through our mayor that this is a great report, and I just appreciate the effort that's been put over that year of 2025 fiscal year. So thank you.
Thank you, Stella, for the kind words. Anyone else on Zoom?
Oops, let's try that again. I see no other hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. Any other comments from anyone in the audience today? Mr. Chapman? And let me say, Mr. Chapman, it's nice to see you here.
It's nice to be seen, Mayor. Appreciate that. A couple of things. First of all, I think I have to go back and take my driver's test for my wheelchair there. Yeah, it's probably time. Also, just a question of knowing, how are the auditors selected for any city, our city in this particular case? Who determines what that, or who that auditor and or firm are? Secondly, I have to totally agree, living through many of the prior days as to where we are for those that were here. We're light years from where we were, and that's a great place to be. And last, most importantly, if staff could have simply put on the packet that the presentation's only going to take 5 or 6 minutes. I spent 3 days on that 642 pages. So next time, if we could get a heads up, it'd probably save me some time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anita, you had a question. Would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, sure. In fact, the staff brought forward a request to City Council to move forward with an RFP. Our current contract was up with our existing auditors, MUN CPA, and so we are in the process of finalizing that RFP process, and we hope to bring forward a request to award the selected respondent and award a contract next meeting, maybe,
Okay,
hopefully.
good. And just as a comment, it's very routine for all jurisdictions to switch auditors out after a couple of years. It's just best practices. I think the staff and the city councils have been very pleased with the work that MUN has done, but it's just time to go out, and this is a good time to do it.
But it's also like not an actual requirement that you switch audit firms, sir.
Best practices. All right, anyone else in the audience like to comment on this item? Okay, very good. We'll move forward on that. Public comment, non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. All speakers' time will be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by the mayor. All comments or questions should be addressed to the mayor, and in most cases, the city council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, but may engage in a brief discussion, provide direction to city staff, or schedule items for future meetings. Oh, do we have any comments?
I have received 3 public comment cards. First, speaker Stan Nader, followed by Linda DeRozier, and finally Eric Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Stan Nader. I live in 12 Bridges area. When I was last speaking to you regarding the Water Master Plan update, I was sharing with you the challenges to relying on increasing the city's water supply by drilling more groundwater wells. I am aware the city is in discussions with PCWA regarding the River Arc project, which would treat water from the Sacramento River and convey that treated water to areas in Sacramento and Placer counties. The mind-numbing cost of this project could reach $500 million. It makes the $300 million cost for the NID water treatment facility on Raccoon Creek look like a bargain, which the city passed on years ago. The important thing to be aware of is that NID's water right entitlements are superior to those of PCWA. The River Arc project is currently under environmental review, and PCWA must be able to move their entitlements from the American River to the Sacramento River to be able to participate in the River Arc project. These efforts can take a great deal of time. The first phase of the River Arc project is projected to be completed by 2030. Given that a major fish screen must be installed in the Sacramento River, a raw water pipeline must be built to transport the water to the treatment plant located near Highway 7099. From there, the water would have to travel through PCWA's pipeline infrastructure to reach the city of Lincoln. This is a lot to accomplish in 4 years. I know the Ophir treatment plant is another potential source of water for the city. One of the challenges is not the volume of water that comes from this project, but the infrastructure necessary to deliver the water to the city. A second pipeline will need to be built by and reviewing the update, it is unclear who will be responsible to construct the pipeline. With 98% of the cost of the implementation of the facets of the update to be borne by new development, I question whether it can be sustained by them. The first 5 years of the update of the project cost $100 million. That is a lot of money in anybody's book.
Stan? Can you summarize, please?
Yep. Obviously, there is much to be accomplished, and all the pieces will need to fall together without anything getting in the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
Next is Linda.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor. My name is Linda DeRosa. I live in Lincoln for the past 20 years. I was fortunate enough to be hired by the staff for the 2007 opening of the 12 Bridges Library. And after 10 years, I retired, and now I'm a volunteer. Reason for the blue shirt. The Friends of the Lincoln Library are I'm here to represent them to point out to you an article that was in the Lincoln News Messenger last Friday with the Below the Fold. Online reading program starts for Western Placer Unified School District students. This is a fabulous program that our great staff and our library director, Catherine Hunt, have created to encourage students to continue to read by allowing them to do it online, to register the number of minutes and hours that they've read, to win prizes for their elementary school. So far, almost all of the schools are participating, and they are competing rapidly because the first prize for the school that reads the most is $1,000. The second prize is $750, and third is $500 for them to spend on more reading materials and books for their school. So they can also win individual prizes, which would, of course, be more books. So the Friends of the Lincoln Library, of course, celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, 1986. We were formed as a 501c3. We are a public charity that continues to raise funds to promote programs like this, and we work in partnership with the fine staff at the Lincoln Public Library and Western Placer Unified School District. And this is a pilot program that our staff came up with, and we are very proud to fulfill our mission, which is to promote and support the Lincoln Public Library. I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can, if you have any. You all have library cards, right? They're still
Yes,
free.
yes.
Yes,
The
they're
library
still
card.
free. And you can also read and win prizes yourself, more books. Thank you.
Thank you.
Holly, did you have a comment?
I didn't have a question. I was just going to thank Linda for all her work and her years of dedication to our library. Yeah.
Absolutely. The Friends do
They do
fabulous
great work,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and we're very grateful.
Okay, very good. We have one more comment, I believe, in here.
Oop, there we go, green light. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Eric Johnson. I've been a resident in 12 Bridges area since 2010. And just want to share a few comments, first of gratitude for all of you, for all the fine work you're doing for the city and all the staff. It's great to be a part of the city and what, the direction it's heading. So appreciate all of that work. And second, I wanted to give a quick update on the fitness court and also appreciate, your support with that project. And, as I pursued it along with some others. So just wanted to briefly go over utilization report that they've provided. So it launched officially on July 8th last year. So it's been about 6 or 7 months. You got that? Okay, good. Sorry, I'm a, sorry, we have a teenage son in the house, so that's, yeah. I had to get that in there. Yes, yes. Although now he's gonna be embarrassed. So since there's been, that amount of time of data, Doug and I, he's the director of recreation here at the city. We've been on quarterly update meetings with the fitness court liaisons. And so, we've been able to see people utilizing it here, but they also have their way of tracking utilization through their app and whatnot. So what they did, and I'll email the report to all the council members and staff so you can have this as well. But what they do is they go through and they have different tiers for based on cities, population, and population density. We fall in tier B, which is their category fall in. And so what they do is they have a national average for other cities in tier B with the usage data and health impacts. So the national average for the amount of time since we've launched is an estimated 3,360 total workouts since one is open. So that's the national average. And Lincoln, they calculated we're at 5,866, which is significantly higher than the national average. And it's about 75% higher, 2,500 more. So I just wanted to highlight that our community is definitely using it. It's very much appreciated and well received. And there's, a lot of groups out there using it. And one group in particular has been trying to get me out there, but they meet at like 5 in the morning, and that's a little too early for me. So maybe one of these days, if they're listening, I'll make it out there with them. But it's been fantastic to see the community using it. So just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Eric, very much.
Yeah,
Holly.
it's right over by my house. I drive by it every day and people are always using it. And literally, I'm not just saying this, Eric, every time I drive by that, I just love this court. It's so great. I know I'll get out there one day, but not at 5. But anyway, I'm still very thrilled and thank you again for all that. But thanks for the update. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else in the audience who would like to make a public comment? All right, we move to Zoom.
Hey, thank you. We do have one hand raised. I will unmute Fran Nevis. Fran, please provide your public comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. I just wanted to say that at the Women's Club meeting today, we had 51 members present, and 3 of the firemen came and taught us the difference between cardiac arrest and heart attacks and choking and signs to look for. And they brought some dummies and showed us some CPR moves, and we were just really appreciated. And since I was going to be on here tonight, I just thought I'd mention that to you. So we were really happy to have the 3 of them come to the Women's Club. And then down on Oak Tree Lane, they are working. They're widening the north side, putting in the merge lanes. And I imagine when they get that done, then they'll maybe move 193 over a little bit so they can work on the south side. And I finally realized why you don't want us using the right-hand turn lane onto 193. And it's because there's no merge lane there. And that's the difference. Not that you can't see who's coming on the left, but we really don't have a merge lane. So anyway, thanks for all you do. I'm proud to be a member of this community, and I'm proud to know all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fran. Sean, do we have any updates on 193 Oak Tree or Vin?
You're up.
Well, Mr. Tony Frazier is in the room, but we have an approved traffic control plan. We're just waiting on the contractor to procure all the materials and equipment to get it in place ASAP. So developers on board, we definitely want to have it in place before, Easter holiday coming up. I think it's just getting all the materials. it's gonna, we think it's gonna function a lot better with an all-way stop. Of course, for some of the commuters, they may not like that, they're gonna have to come to a stop as you enter into the city a couple of times a day. But I truly believe it will be a lot safer, especially for the churchgoers at St. Joseph's. With all the construction activity along this corridor and with Stardust starting as well, I think it's going to be a lot safer. Just from Ferrari Ranch all the way to Sierra College Boulevard, hopefully, traffic would work a lot better and people are no longer, going 80 miles an hour out there.
Thank you, Ben. Okay. Hope, do we have anyone else?
I do not see anyone else on Zoom.
Okay. In that case, we'll close public comment. On the consent, help me out a little bit. We pulled number 12, 12 I, 12 I, 12 I separately. Okay, good. Yes, right. So we're not worrying about that. Okay, anyone else want to pull anything off the, okay? All right, any questions from the council on any of them? Okay, no good on that.
Mayor, just a reminder, whoever makes that motion, if the motion can be made referencing the modifications stated earlier for consent calendar, please.
So I move we approve the.
Hold on one second, we have to do Zoom first. Anyone in the audience and then Zoom. Okay, anyone in the audience to make a comment on the consent column? Okay, no one? Anyone on Zoom?
I do have a hand raised.
All right.
Oh, I thought we did that already, sorry.
I'll go ahead and unmute Stella Greenhouse. Stella, please provide your public comment.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, just happy to see Liberty Lincoln on the consent, and I know that's gone through the planning commission, and a lot of work's been done on that, so just excited to see the groundbreaking and moving forward in that community.
Is that a second comment? No, I guess not, probably not, okay. No, we're very good. Okay, very good. No, the comment from over here, and
Ready?
now
Okay.
Holly.
All right, so I move that we approve the consent agenda with the corrections made on 12E and minus 12I, because we're going to do that separately.
Okay. Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And any abstentions? Okay, very good. Sounds like we're good on that. Discussing now for 12I, Ms. Hunt.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Catherine Hunt, your Director of Library Services. The item before you is an exciting one. As part of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, the Carnegie Corporation of New York did award funds to every active library system that had at one point a Carnegie library, regardless of whether that Carnegie still provided library services. Lincoln Public Library did receive that. And so the item that is before you is an MOU to allow the Friends of the Lincoln Public Library, as you heard earlier, have been our partners in providing, helping support and promote library services for 40 years, to manage those funds with restrictions that they are to promote, or to, those funds are to support library services and operations as identified by city staff. This is in line with other agreements that we have with the Friends of the Lincoln Library, especially with funds like these that were not solicited. This was not a grant. We do not have a project identified in the current city budget. This MOU allows us to be a little bit more nimble in meeting the community's needs when and how we identify those. So if you have any questions, I am happy to answer those.
Other questions from my colleagues? No. Okay, absolutely. Good money without a
take money.
doubt. Okay, any comments from the audience on this item? Okay, going once, twice, three times. Anyone on Zoom?
Mr. Mayor, I do not see anyone on Zoom that wishes to provide public comment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, let's take a motion on item number 12I.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
moved and second. Any comments? No discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. No nays, abstentions. Okay? Pass. Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay. Item 13A, adopt a resolution approving the tentative parcel map with project-specific typical conditions of approval for the proposed level north project. Anita, you're going to do an introduction.
I am, but before I do that even, we're actually going to ask that we push this to after general business. We're printing some attachments for the item
Okay.
at the moment.
Okay, general business then. 14A, train town discussion.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Mayor. and Good evening, Council. So just real quick, this is, I'd say in my career, 1% of the agenda items I get to present are actually what I would call sort of fun. And this is that 1%. And I mean objectively fun, not like fun to someone like me. So we were contacted by the Union Pacific in March, early March actually, letting us know that Lincoln had been chosen as a stop on the Coast to Coast tour, which is celebrating America's 250th anniversary. The train tour is being led by the legendary Big Boy number 4014 locomotive, which is the world's largest operative steam locomotive, along with several historical passenger cars that they're going to be towing in fleet. In case you're just sort of interested on a little bit of the history real quickly, there were 25 of these engines commissioned by the Union Pacific Railroad, the first of which was delivered in 1941. These massive locomotives were built to haul heavy equipment in support of the war effort, normally operating in Utah and Wyoming. They're 133 feet long and weigh about 1.2 million pounds. And due to their great length, the frames of the Big Boy are hinged or articulated to allow them to negotiate curves. A little different than how engines are built and operate today. I won't go into all the other technical driving details of it, but it's all included in your report, and also a link if you're really a train enthusiast and you want to know about it. Suffice to say, this is essentially one of the most famous trains in America, and one of the most famous trains that actually still is active in some use, at least in ceremonial ways. And in speaking with the UP, if you don't know much about train culture, there is a whole subculture, as there is with many things, of people that are fanatics over this. And so they're basically starting this tour in Wyoming, and they're going to end in Roseville. And Lincoln was chosen as a stop, partially because the Union Pacific has decided that they would like to honor Lincoln as designated as a train town, which is a designation that they've created for a couple dozen communities in a few different states that have a historical connection to the railroad that dates back well over 100 years in our case. Which is a very nice honor because if you know anything about Lincoln's history, some cities are cited and developed because they're on a coastline, or they're near a port, or they're near a large body of fresh water, and a variety of other strategic reasons. Lincoln was partially because we were adjacent to a railroad, and so commerce started to build around the railroad, and for probably close to 65 years, longer than that probably, the railroad was the key economic driver. It's one of the reasons that Gladys McBean ended up here, and a number of other of our industry, because they needed access to the rail system. So it's a huge part of our history, and we think it's very appropriate. They're actually going to present the city council with a sign that we can hang here in City Hall and just sort of celebrate our history. The more cool component about it is on April 9th at 4:30 for exactly 15 minutes. They're going to stop at the intersection of 7th and almost Lincoln Boulevard, right next to the police station. And they're going to pull the locomotive up and stop there. And they're going to do a quick presentation to the city council. There'll be opportunity for community members to get pictures. No, you cannot get on the train. And no, you cannot even touch the train. But I would say to those citizens that are interested in taking your kids out to check it out, I've seen similar things. And if you haven't seen a real steam engine fire up and move, it's pretty cool. It's like the movies. But I would also say that make sure you get there early and find some street parking, probably on the western side of 7th Street, moving more towards the high school, because we expect lots of folks that are not necessarily residents to be following this train. Some people follow it from Wyoming and literally stop with it every, like, you're following the Grateful Dead or something. So it's pretty cool. And it's a great honor to have it stop here, especially since, they're passing through dozens and dozens of communities along the way. And there's no request for direction or for a specific direction, although if you'd like to provide additional, you certainly can. No fiscal impact to this. We've coordinated some street closures with the UP. And fun fact, the UP actually has their own sworn police department, which the chief has been working with, so we make sure that this is safe for everyone. And it's a very quick event, so make sure you get there early, and then they'll be out of there in 15 minutes. They're very schedule oriented.
Yeah, we can't stress enough the fact to get there early, because they will only be here for 15 minutes without a doubt. They will depart right on time. And there are people I was talking to their public affairs people. Apparently there are folks coming from Europe just for this event.
Yep.
Right, so it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I don't think it's steam, and it's actually diesel at this point. It was,
Yeah,
it was coal. I guess it was coal at one point, but now it's diesel. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think we're all looking forward to it. But for everyone in who I have an interest in, please get there early. Parking is going to be difficult. But our police chief and the fire department, everyone will be out there making sure that everyone is safe. We're also coordinating with the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce to have some fun stuff going on at the same time. So, of course, it departs at 4:45, and hopefully people will come and will stay and enjoy themselves with Lincoln wine and food and beverages.
Right.
So that'll be fun. It'll be
I
great.
was going to say, all those people from Europe can come spend money in Lincoln.
That's right.
Yep.
Good. Any other questions or comments on this? Is going to be cool. Yes. Yeah. Right. Sean, very, very good. Okay, item 14B, adopt a resolution approving the successor memorandum of understanding between the International Association of Firefighters, Local 522, Lincoln Professional Firefighters Association, and the City of Lincoln, and related salary schedules. Veronica, there you are.
Mayor, good evening, council members. The item before you, as the mayor said, is a request for approval of the successor memorandum of understanding, or MOU, between the city and our firefighters. They are represented by the International Association of Firefighters, which is Local 522. This bargaining unit includes 27 employees, consisting of fire captains, engineers, and firefighters. The group's current agreement is set to expire on March 31st after 5 years. The proposed successor agreement is for a 15-month term running from April 1 through June 30th, 2027. So over the past 5 months, the city and the association met and conferred in good faith. A tentative agreement was reached on February 16th and has since been ratified by both parties. The key provisions of this agreement include a 3% wage increase effective following council adoption and a 2% increase effective January 2027. There's also an increase to bilingual pay for those certified from $75 to $100 per month. And also there's a elimination of a 2.5% premium that the firefighters were receiving after so many hours of out-of-class pay. This will help address long-term cost exposure for the city. The total estimated fiscal impact of the agreement is approximately $190,000 over the 15-month term. For this fiscal year, it's $32,000, which can be absorbed within the fire department's budget. And I do want to note that based on the review of the current market, these classifications are currently between 8 and 25% below market. So this is a small step, to remedy that gap. But right now, it's probably the best approach to remain fiscally responsible when making these increases. So overall, this agreement reflects council's direction during negotiations, makes incremental progress towards the market alignment and also maintaining, like I said, fiscal responsibility. And so we recommend that you approve the successor MOU and adopt the associated salary schedules. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Veronica. Questions from my colleagues? I've got no, do we have any comments, any cards? Okay, anyone on Zoom?
I do not see any public comments through Zoom. Then also checking in the audience.
We're all good?
Nope.
All right, very good. Do I have a motion on this?
I'll move to adopt resolution approving.
Thank you, Ben. Second over there. Discussion, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? See, I'm getting good. I'm getting good, Doug. Okay, very good. In that case, we approve. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your work on that, Veronica.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. That's been a long time in coming, and I think it's a good agreement. Okay, item 14C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a legal services agreement with White Brenner. Mrs. Scully.
Thank you, Mayor. Doug White and Nubia Goldstein have stepped out of the room for your consideration of this item, just to ensure that there's no appearance of conflict. So I'll go through this relatively quickly, and we can get into more detail if you'd like. The City of Lincoln City Attorney's Office has recently undergone a staffing change, as you mentioned at the beginning of this meeting. While the City Council determines the best path forward for permanent legal services, interim city attorney services can be provided by an outside law firm. Staff have identified White Brenner LLP as a law firm that can provide those services and have provided an interim agreement for services, which is attached to your agenda. As I mentioned, the agreement is interim in nature with a defined start date of March 24th and an undefined ending date to ensure flexibility depending on how council in the future may decide to dictate long-term direction for legal services to the organization. White Brenner has a long history of municipal legal representation in incorporated jurisdictions across the state of California, and not just incorporated jurisdictions, also special districts, counties, et cetera. Their firm has a number of subject matter experts in many key areas that we commonly have needs for here at the City of Lincoln, such as public safety, water, sewer, refuse utilities, Brown Act compliance, litigation, land use, et cetera. Essentially almost everything that you would need to have legal assistance. They have someone or a group of them that work on this kind of thing for a variety of jurisdictions. The agreement appoints the firm as interim city attorney to provide legal services as requested by the city, including working with and supervising our deputy city attorney, who is sitting behind me. Under the agreement, Doug White and Nubia Goldstein would serve as interim city attorney and interim assistant city attorney, respectfully, and would be the primary contacts for legal services for the city moving forward. They can tell you more about themselves at some point if you'd like, or you can just Google them. Doug and Nubia both have been city attorneys for a long time for a number of different jurisdictions. And both, I believe, are local McGeorge School of Law grads, although that is some time ago now. Real quickly, just in terms of services, this is obviously providing legal advice and consultation as requested by myself and city staff, attendance at city council meetings, coordination of and management of any outside counsel that we may need. They will be reviewing any documents, contracts, agreements, memoranda, et cetera, that is heard by city council or just circulated at a staff level. They consult on the sale and purchase of private property, guidance related to the Brown Act, Political Reform Act, Public Records Act, Proposition 218, and other legal requirements. And they'll represent the city in any legal or regulatory actions if needed. The rates for the city attorney are charged at a blended rate for all attorneys, including partners, counsels, and associates. Depending on the nature of their work, their rate is for general legal services. So that would be, for example, this meeting, when they're advising on matters with the city council that are general in nature, that rate is $250 an hour. Special counsel legal services would be things that are much more specific in nature, so land use, litigation, water, things that are complex and require subject matter expertise, is billed at $350 an hour. And then reimbursable legal services, which is when a deposit is paid and some third party is paying for our legal expenses. For example, in certain insurance-related lawsuits, development, et cetera, those billings are at $475 an hour. We find that these are generally standard, is depending on where you look. There's a number of municipal law firms that provide this sort of work. It is within the range of what we typically see. The rates are adjusted January 1st of each year in accordance with CPI increases for the preceding period, and a 2.5% technology fee is assessed, also standard. Approval of the agreement is estimated to have a neutral effect on the current biennium city budget. The city attorney's department has budgeted funds, and staff will work to ensure that funds spent on those services stay within the approved amount. With that said, as we know, the legal world is unpredictable, and what you may think you have it all budgeted appropriately one year, and then a lawsuit comes up you were not expecting, or some other complex matter. And so if that occurs and we need to make budget amendments, we'll make those appropriately. But our intent is to have no net difference to what was already budgeted for legal services in our current budget. And that sort of wraps up the details of the agreement. I'd be happy to answer any questions or talk more broadly about it if you'd like.
Just an observation that they will be here on site. But the other thing that we talked about was that while they are here, if they are not working on specific, because they're on an hourly basis, if they're not working on a City of Lincoln project, then we're not charged. It's because they're here.
That's great. There's no hangout around the water cooler charging. It is when they are working as an attorney, we are charged, and otherwise we aren't. So we're actually pretty used to that at a staff level, even with in-house city attorneys, because sometimes we had to use external counsel for a variety of things. And so we're aware about how to be careful about making sure that we're asking for the help when we need it and not on everything we may need.
Any other questions from my colleagues or comment? Okay, no questions.
Just comment is that I've been very impressed with the work so far. And I'm happy with what they're doing, and so I'm supportive. Don't have any questions.
Make a comment. I don't have any questions either, but I've been very impressed with the level of service and work that they've been doing since they've been here. It's really impressive. So I'm very comfortable with keeping them.
I'm grateful that in this transition that it's been very pleasant.
John? Okay. Yeah, I think that they've certainly demonstrated that they jumped in. They're answering all our questions. They seem to know what they're doing, which is very good. What I like especially is the range of services that they have within their own firm. It's very difficult for one individual or two individuals to have, to be an expert in all areas. If you don't have that expertise, you have to go out and buy that expertise. They have it within their firm. I think there are 25 members of their firm, I think, altogether. Their headquarters is in Sacramento, downtown Sacramento, and I think Doug lives in Roseville. So this is very good. Okay, very good. Public comments over here. Anyone in the audience? Chapman. Be careful when you're driving up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff, as those here, appreciate them coming out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last hiring of the city attorney was the first time that the city had actually had they were a city employee rather than what we're talking about now, a firm. So a couple of comments. One, do we have enough data over that 8 years in order to determine the big sales pitch? I remember when we were here going through this, and I know of another town that went through this as well. And the comment was, absolutely, you get somebody in-house and they're the employee, we're going to say gobs of money. I don't know whether that is or not true, but it would be very helpful to find out if that is or isn't, because I would hope that we haven't just closed the door and going back to what we have, as opposed to, if what I'm hearing correctly, is it is much better, and I've seen this throughout the years, where you have an individual that is assigned to us, and then they have the caveat of information. So I would hope that we're looking at that as a possibility, because, and then bottom line is simply checking the dots and say, did we spend too much, or were we over what we should have been? And should we go back to where we were? I would hope that we're looking at that from a real exhibit of trying to stretch those firms as much as possible. I think it's real important. So it's important to me to find out what we've spent in those 8 years on legal, and keeping in mind that not every attorney has everything, because there's just so many avenues in which to go. But it would be helpful to find out for sure, is that the way to go, or do we go back to the traditional way and handle it from there? Thank you.
Thank you, Byron.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Byron kind of drilled down to like something that the council is going to have to evaluate in the next handful of months. Because the answer to your question is, I don't know. If we could take a sampling of what legal services cost prior to an in-house counsel being brought in, and then compare it against, we could give you a generalized idea, but I don't think it would be apples to apples, right? Some of it depends on what's happening legally at that time, how big were we at that time, how much development is going on. So the pressure on a legal department increases as the demand for their services increases, the community increases. But with that said, it's certainly something that I think the city council is going to have to evaluate. One other just little important component is the city attorney does not work for me. They are a direct report to the city council, and that includes the firm. And so really at the end of the day, it'll be a city council decision about the best way to provide the service moving forward in the most cost-effective way. And we'll give you all the information. I'm sure you'll talk about it publicly, and you'll come to whatever decision you do. As long as we have some great people doing it, then I think we'll all always be happy. We can never be in a place where we don't have one at all. Let's put it that way.
Right. Right. Okay, very good. Anyone else in the audience would like to make a comment? All right. Anyone on Zoom?
Yes, I do have one participant, Sella Greenhouse. You have been unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Mr. Mayor, just one thing in regards to Mr. Chapman's comment about kind of a comparison. I understand that the city manager's concerns of variables, but I think that looking at those numbers are not necessarily an apples to apples, but capturing those and understanding those are important in the analysis of going forward after these first few months. But one of the things I want to ask is, Mr. Mayor, is in regards to the hiring of the deputy city attorney and how the contract with this will affect the position that we created and hired. And if we've assessed that, if they're going to be working for this White Brenner LLC, or if they're going to be working in conjunction, or if that can be spoken about. Thank you.
Sean.
Sure. The deputy city attorney position is a budgeted and will continue to be a budgeted position. As it relates to how her position is supervised, it gets kind of a little into the weeds, but what I will say is that Christy McKinney is being supervised by the city, would be under this arrangement, be supervised. And the benefit, and it might be kind of an interesting model that we're playtesting a little bit, is you have outside counsel, and then you also have someone in-house that's an employee that can handle more of the day-to-day work. And so we're working on how that looks sort of in real time. And so we'll have to have the city attorneys report back to you on how it's looking moving forward. I'm really a very poor supervisor when it comes to attorneys because I'm not one, so.
Actually, I think the city attorney, Christie, actually reports to you. Is that correct? How does that work? Because
Technically, yeah, so in the personnel rules, the only employee of this organization, if they're in-house, that I do not have some authority over is the city attorney. Everyone else, even if they're a deputy attorney, technically reports to me, but in this case, it makes more sense to have her report to actual people with a law degree that can review her work.
Sure. Perfect, very good. Anyone else on Zoom?
I see no other hands raised.
Okay, thank you very much. Any concluding comments on this?
Well, I was just going to say, I appreciate Mr. Chapman's question. We do have a lot to investigate and decide in the next few months. And there's some thoughts on this because before the city hired Christine, the contract attorney that we had, in my opinion, wasn't doing a very good job. I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And then when Christine came on, and you had an in-house attorney, there were so many benefits to it. And my thought has been, that's the way to go. But then, since she's left and now we have White Brenner and the good work they're doing, I think it depends on, yes, we need to look at how much we spent before, what it's costing us now. Are we saving money or not? But also it's the caliber of the attorneys that you have that are contracted that needs to be taken into consideration too. I think there's benefits to both. And so we do have a lot to look at, but like I said, my original thought before was like, no, I don't want to do contract because they're horrible, right? But these guys are not horrible, they're awesome. And so, and I really loved Christine, she did great work. So there's benefits to both, but we've got some work to do to figure out what we want to do moving forward. But for right now, I'm really happy.
And there's no reason to rush for judgment
No,
on
there's,
this. I
no,
mean,
no,
I mean,
we're
we've got
not in a
competent
rush
attorneys,
at all.
And we just move forward.
Yep.
Good. Any other?
I agree that it really does come down to the firm or the person that's providing the services. You really can't calculate it when it comes to the how much you're spending because there's no way to know when you're going to need those services. Just whether you're getting the services you need.
Right. And we're such a different city now than we were, 10, 12, 15 years ago, without a doubt. Apples and tangerines at that point. John, anything? Okay. Okay, good. If in that case, we're ready to take a vote on to adopt 14C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a legal services agreement with White Brenner. Do I have someone making a motion?
Yeah, I move approval. Oh, sorry, John can have it. I'll second.
Okay, very good.
He's been
Okay.
very quiet tonight. We'll let him have this one.
So unusual.
I know.
But it's not, the meeting's not over, so it's okay. Wow.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Any abstentions? Okay, good. Done. Now we're back, Nita, now we're back to you on public hearing 13A.
Okay, sorry for the little mix-up on the agenda, and if the city manager handles that for me. So we just have some additional attachments that belong with the resolution. They actually are included in the agenda packet already. They're just included in the resolution that was adopted by the Planning Commission, and so we just need to provide them as the attachments to the resolution as well. But just briefly and without stealing the thunder, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce Thomas Kershank. He is one of our new associate planners with the city. He's been with us for a number of months, came from out of state, and he jumped in with both feet. And now he is presenting this item, which is the tentative map for this parcel. And I don't want to go into the details because, again, I promise not to steal his thunder. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Tom.
And we're cutting your mic off.
All right, good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. I'm Thomas Cruikshank, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department. Project before you tonight is the Level North Tentative Parcel Map. This presentation is a summary of the project. More detailed project information is included in the staff report. As of this meeting, we have not received any public comments. Tonight, I will discuss the following items: the requested entitlement, the project site, Planning Commission recommendations, staff findings and environmental determination, and staff recommendations. The applicant, Beazer Homes Holdings, is requesting that the City Council adopt a resolution approving a tentative parcel map, splitting an existing 103.2 acre parcel into 4 separate parcels. An approved tentative parcel map would allow a portion of land to be divided, created, and sold for potential future development. On December 17th, 2025, the Planning Commission held a public hearing for the Level North tentative parcel map project. After discussion with staff and the applicant, the commission voted 7-0 to adopt a resolution recommending City Council approve the tentative north parcel map. Here's an aerial photo showing location of the property. It is located south of McBean Park Drive and east of downtown Lincoln. This area highlighted in blue. This is a close-up of the existing property. It is vacant and used for cattle. The current assessor's parcel map shows the subject properties, number 36 and 65 are one legal parcel with 2 assessor parcel numbers. This is the proposed tentative parcel map for the Level North property. The map will take one existing legal parcel, create 4 separate parcels. This map satisfies the city's minimum parcel sizes and proposes no development at this time. Staff have analyzed the proposed entitlement request and concluded that it is consistent and complies with the Subdivision Map Act, the goals, policies, and intent of the city's general plan, the adopted Village 1 specific plan, general development plan, and Lincoln Municipal Code Title 17 subdivision ordinance. The project proposes no development and complies with the existing environmental impact report. It also qualifies for exemptions section 15315, class 15 minor land division, and section 15183 projects consistent with the general plan, community plan, or zoning under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. City staff has prepared draft conditions of approval for the tentative parcel map. Standard and project-specific conditions have been applied. All conditions will be subject to verification of compliance with city departments. The applicant has reviewed and agreed to the conditions of approval. Staff recommends the City Council conduct a public hearing, consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission, the information contained in the staff report, the testimony of the public, and then take the following actions. 1, determine the project exempt from CEQA review under sections 15315 and 15183, and 2, adopt a resolution to approve Level North tentative parcel map subject to conditions of approval. This concludes my presentation, and a member of the applicant team and city staff are here to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate that. Okay, questions from my colleagues? Okay. Very good. Anyone in the audience? Do we have any cards?
So speaker cards, I do have one hand raised through Zoom.
Before that, I see Tony, did you want to make a comment?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. On behalf of the family, Tom and his daughter Tessa, we're here in Beazer to thank you for working with us on this parcel map. It's as Tom mentioned, which did a good job explaining everything. I don't have to go in detail. This is just the parcel split, and Beazer really buying parcels 3 and 4 is only about less than 20 acres to move forward. But in order to do that, they had to do the entire parcel map so we can move forward to the next step. So we'll be next in front of you again on small lot in the map, but now we appreciate all the work that went into this, especially Anita and Sean and all the staff to get us here. Thank you. And I'm glad to answer any question you may have.
Thank you, Tony. Anyone else in the audience? Okay, very good. Anyone on Zoom?
Yes, we do. Stella Greenhouse, you have
We have opened
been,
the public hearing.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor. Again, Stella Greenhouse in Lincoln, in downtown Lincoln is where I live. I was just commenting specifically. I was there when the Leeville North Project Division was presented to the Planning Commission. My comment then was, I think that's wonderful to allow this family to divide and make more money in the long term by having these divisions of these parcels. One of the things that I continue to see, and I don't know if the planning department can speak about that, but there's a consistent exempt from CEQA and these different sections that are there. And I don't know, I think in the last year, I did see a presentation from our consultant from CEQA that was presenting, I think, to the planning commission or some other department, but I don't know how that exemption gets defined, and just ensuring that we do our diligence as a city to ensure that that CEQA analysis. I remember being at one planning commission that someone spoke about some animals, and I know that the city manager spoke about obviously development does hurt habitations. I think that's one part of CEQA, but I want to ensure that as we continue to do lots of development in our city, that our thorough analysis of CEQA is taken care of, and that our liability going forward is covered. So I will take care of mom duties now. Thank you.
Mommy, what is it?
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, super quick answer. So there are really quickly, there are two primary types of CEQA analyses. One of them is programmatic. One of them is project specific. Every single one of our villages that is annexed into city limits has a programmatic EIR, meaning it overlays the entirety of the projects and allows for development broadly within the confines of what's proposed. That's what council typically approves. Sometimes a project will deviate slightly or significantly from that, and then we require either an additional analysis, meaning another environmental document, or there are layers and levels below that. Sometimes it's simply just Mel and Nita will look and say, hey, we just need an additional study to make sure that this is lining up with the previous environmental work that's been done. Village One really isn't that old as far as projects go, and so the CEQA document is relatively recent and is still useful in this case, and there's mitigation measures that are attached to every project when it moves further into the development phase to address what people in the environmental world call the bugs and bunnies, species and habitat, as well as traffic noise, et cetera, et cetera. So lots and lots of work has gone into environmental on this.
Thank you. And you're pleased to know that Mel was nodding his head behind you. Okay, very good. Anyone else on Zoom?
I do not see any other hands raised.
Okay, in that case, we'll bring it back to the council to adopt a resolution approving the tentative parcel map, project specific and typical conditions of approval for the proposed Level North project. For motion.
I'll move approval.
Okay. Okay. No more discussion. I don't see. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Oh, okay. Done with that one. All right, very good. City manager reports.
I'm gonna, just this once and only this once, give Doug a few minutes of my time to share something before we move into my report.
We won't make it a habit. Well, first of all, I just wanted to quickly say thank you both on behalf of myself, Nubia, and the entire White Brenner team. It's a great honor to have, to be able to serve the city of Lincoln. We're really looking forward to it, and we've been able to work with Christy, and we're really looking forward to being able to continue to do that. In addition to making sure that we keep up to our reputation and make sure everybody feels good about their motions and their votes, at least on the interim basis. We hope to be a part of the community and be out and to see everybody and always know that if you do see a bald guy out there in a suit, then feel free to come up and say hi and we can talk and it's off the clock. So anyway, but most of it, just wanted to express, both thanks and gratitude to all of you for the trust that you've given our team. And we're going to live up to our promise of delivering excellent legal services for you.
Thank you, Doug. Looking forward to working with you.
I actually have only two things to report. Well, three things. The first is that we are still seeking a date, and as soon as we have it, I promise I'll push it out to the community as well. We're looking to do the council strategic planning session sometime in mid to late April, depending on a bunch of scheduling needs. This time, one of the things we've discussed, aside from simply getting through a lot of the strategic initiatives that have now been completed and can move off the list and be repopulated with new things, there seems to be an interest, at least amongst a few of the council, to also spend some time defining vision in a way that can guide us moving forward. So not necessarily only discussing outcomes and projects that we want to see, but what kind of organization do we want to be? How do you want that reflected in your staff and the work that we do? And the city has done this, on and off periodically for a long time. And the last number of strategic planning sessions were really more project focused because we just had so much we wanted to get to. But as the mayor was mentioning to me earlier, without some sort of guiding statement about who we are and what we want to be, sometimes you can lose your way a little bit if you're not careful. So and that's a council decision, but certainly a community discussion, and we'd like to have people present for that. Second issue is just a quick staffing announcement change. So I have ordered a reorganization of the finance and community development departments. So when we had a vacancy in the community development department for director about 8 months ago, one of the fun little tasks of being an assistant city manager is you're assigned to do whatever I need you to do. And so Nita graciously went and has been managing that department with the senior staff there for the last 8 months and has done a fabulous job. Not simply my perspective, this is what I've heard from elected officials, planning commissioners, and our development community. So as we were, it's one of those things when you have this luxury of having somebody that you can plug in that way, it can tend to make me a little bit lazy in terms of wanting to fix the solution. What's the solution long term? Because if it's not broke, then don't try to fix it, right? So after thinking about it a little bit more and thinking about council's sort of direction as it relates to succession planning, I decided that the best path would be, Nita has shared that she's enjoying her experience leading that team. And so what we're going to do moving forward is we will be relieving Nita of her day-to-day finance director duties. We will recruit a professional to take her place. And she will spend the majority of her time running the community development department for the foreseeable future. She will retain oversight of finance, so it stays in her portfolio of responsibility, but the day-to-day work will be handled by that new person. The other thing that I'm going to work on and we're going to propose to council as a consideration is we'd like to create a deputy director of a development position in community development, which would allow some of our senior staff there opportunities to promote and train to become the long-term community development director. I tend to not think that Nita's title will remain in that place for a very, very long time. The idea is to get somebody else prepared and ready to take over, because we found in general that department's so unique to itself. The type of business that we do is so much more fast-paced than virtually any other community of similar size that you can find. It's very difficult to find somebody that can manage that on a day-to-day basis unless they've lived in it. And so the council's direction to me not all that long ago was we got to create a very deep bench, and that's part of what we're trying to accomplish here. So congratulations, I guess, to Nita. And I know everybody has been really pleased with her over the years of sort of the cleanup and finance, and so I don't think you have to worry that it's going to regress in any way. She still will have oversight, but we'll go find some professional or promote some professional to take over that role. And then the third thing, because I'm getting questions about this, and I can't go into detail, but every so often a community member will ask me, hey, what's going on with the county property tax renegotiations? And the answer to that question is that our proposal and all of the associated data, which took us a long time to compile and make easily reviewable, has been sent to the county and is now in their court. So I don't have a timeline of when we'll hear of a response, but I expect that in the near term, we will receive either a counter or we'll receive some sort of feedback on our proposal. And hopefully it will get to a place that's very positive for both parties. And we will be speaking about that detail and what it means to Lincoln in the long term, because you'll have to approve whatever is tentatively agreed to at a staff level. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Holly?
Are we on information now?
Okay, I thought, okay, no.
Oh, no
questions
no
for that.
questions.
Okay,
I was just
good.
waiting for the
Okay,
next
good.
thing.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes, council initiated business.
Okay. So 2 questions. Do we have an update on the entertainment zone thing that I've asked about?
Yeah, so we actually have done a little bit of research about the entertainment zone, and then more specifically what I think the chamber / Rotary were trying to accomplish with the entertainment zone. So the short term is working with the chamber on getting allowances through alcohol and beverage control to allow a different kind of permitting and approval for that use, so that the idea for everybody that doesn't know is that the way WineFest used to work is you go to a business, you enjoy a little glass of wine, you go to another business, on and on. And some have mentioned, hey, it would be nice, just even if it's for that day, to be able to just take your little plastic wine cup and walk down Lincoln Boulevard to the next business and not have to, drink your Chardonnay and go drink another Chardonnay, right? And it's a pretty common thing you see in a lot of communities. The detail of it is going to have to be worked out with the police department, just making sure that we're requiring appropriate kinds of security if we're going to allow people to walk around with open containers, essentially. But ABC does approve these kinds of things for special events. It's not that difficult. So I've talked to Tori about that. I have a little experience. We're going to help them get that sorted out. Long term, the bigger policy question for the city is you set these entertainment zones. What we've learned from a couple other jurisdictions we called was, look, it's a lot of work and you really got to know why you're doing it and what the parameters are. So I think we're going to come back to you with some detail about, if you want to set one up very long term, what does it really mean? Is it only related to drinking? Does it also have to do with music and noise? The idea is you create this area that everybody kind of agrees, hey, this is going to be a more impacted area of your community because it's open to, a little more liveliness and fun during certain periods of time. So we're trying to drill that down a little bit, get it back to council so that you can say, yes, that looks good to us, and then it sort of can be cemented in place long term, if that's what you want. And there will be, I'll be honest with you, there will be some arguments, many arguments for, and there will be some arguments against.
In that case, the devil is definitely going to be in the details.
Yep. But short term, what they're trying to accomplish, we can help accomplish.
Great, thanks. And then my other question is, do we have a date for the skate park groundbreaking?
I don't have a date, but it will be in the next week and a half. So I will get it out to everybody. We're just trying to tee up contractors, et cetera.
Not trying to be a pain, just.
We have the date for it, or we're going to have the.
Yes, that.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't think they're realistically going to be doing work in the first 2 weeks in April, but we want to make sure that you're out there on the day when all the heavy equipment is out there for picture
That's what
purposes.
happened.
To make sure that you're in town.
Yeah, you need to make sure.
We will not schedule it when you're not here. I promise.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good. Anyone?
Yeah, I was wondering if we had any changes or update, because I have received a couple different emails from residents regarding the traffic light on Sierra College and 12 Bridges. Is that still rolling and good to go from our end? And
Yeah, so latest was I got a request last Thursday from the county CEO asking me to just re-verify that we are in for our cost share for the southern leg of the improvement. Roughly half of the project is covered by Placer County Transportation Agency. It was a pre-programmed project. The other half was not. Matt and I have quibbled over whether or not we think that's reasonable, but it is what it is. So the county and city are working on splitting the cost. Our share is a little less than half of that. So we've committed that we do have funds available for that. It's a high priority for the city of Lincoln. We push this project. And what I haven't committed, because I can't, is that they haven't bid this out yet. So I don't actually know the number. I have an idea of what it may be. But I've said, look, unless it comes back in some sort of absurd kind of bid that we simply can't afford, we of course are going to contribute our portion because it's important improvement. So my understanding is they're nearing a place where they're getting close to preliminary design being completed. They're moving into environmental, and then the next step will be bid. And I don't have a date when they think they're going to go to bid.
Okay, great. All right, so we're good on our end. And then I know that we were talking a couple different times, but hasn't been a top priority. Understandably, we've had other things going on that we need to address first, but we've kind of all discussed casually about the disaster preparedness training, and I didn't know if there was anything moving along with that.
Yes. So council, I think this happened during this current council. Council allocated some additional dollars out of our federal relief fund to put towards our emergency operations center, which most of that money has been spent. When it is fully complete, one of the ideas that the two chiefs have had is we think that it's best for you to participate in a tabletop exercise that is something real or could be real versus as a guy that has sat through many, many EOC trainings over the years, no offense to those who are really into it, it's not the most exciting thing in the world unless you're actually talking about an event and you can kind of think through how would we deal with this issue. And so that project is nearly complete. And Chief, when we were chatting with Mejia about it, were we thinking maybe in the next month or two we could hold, essentially we'd hold a special city council meeting and we'd run through exercises. Is that, am I missing anything?
Once the EOC is fully built, IT just has some final touches to do at the PD. And then once that's up and running, we'll be ready to develop it and put it on. So hopefully in the next few months is the goal.
And that's something also that the community, since it's a special council meeting, the community can attend to if they'd like, if they're interested in knowing how does this all work. We'll probably, we'll have to talk to the chiefs about what they think, but, a flood is usually a common one, or some significant event, or, our tanker fire that we had years ago is always a really good one. So, it's running through the scenario of, okay, when that happens and you get that phone call, where do we go? How do we do it? If you all have to get together and vote to allocate funds to deal with some disaster, how does that work? Who's talking to the media? On and on and on. So those are actually quite fun. And we'll make sure we get that noticed out for everyone as well.
Do we have maybe like even an outdated plan? I'm assuming that we have a protocol already in place so that if that happened between now and in 2 months, we're not all just like,
We do. We have an emergency operations plan. There's also one that collaborates with a more county-wide one, because many times you're bringing in resources from all kinds of other places. But part of the tabletop exercise is the assignment of duties. So even the city council will have to be assigned certain duties, because in an emergency, we are not going to have the opportunity to sit and debate and have a bunch of public comment about whether or not we should go, fix a levee that broke, right? It's more action based. And so literally there are steps upon steps upon steps about who is the PIO. If that PIO can't do that work and get the information out to the community, who's the backup? What's the mayor's role? If it's in certain council members' district, what's their role? On and on and on. So it's all very detailed. And in fact, I think do you know if our EOP is on our website? I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a Mejia question.
I
He's
believe
not
it
here.
is. If it is, I'll send it around to everybody. And if it's not, we'll get it up there. But yes, we have a current one. Yep.
awesome. Okay, and last question, because I get it a lot. Is there any update on when the Pappas development is going to break ground and the gym is going in?
I don't have an update. I will work on getting you an answer before the next council meeting. Our Daniela from Economic Development is at the shopping center convention right now.
Oh, I forgot about
with
that.
Faraz from our Economic Development Committee has also attended. And she is there with Pappas. So I'm sure they're having that discussion right now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, I'm good.
John? Okay, Ben?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of, citizens that have been asking a lot about the flight patterns, and, you and I kind of discussed a little bit about what's entailed. Can you give me a little bit better layout as to what the approval process is? I mean, what are we facing and why? Both, not just for me, but for the public to kind of.
Good. I'll make a couple of comments and I'll turn it over to Sean. This was brought up at the last airport committee meeting last week. It was a very robust discussion. We did have I presented a white paper of the pros and cons. It first blush, it's relatively easy. We'll just switch it, not a problem. There's a lot to go over, especially when it comes to safety from the pilots and the community. There's a lot of groundwork that has to be done with the FAA to make sure that they're the sign-off body on it. We can't just make it happen. So we did have people from the community there. I think they came away impressed with the work that we're doing at this point. Certainly, they would like a faster action on it, but it's one of these things, as I said, it seems that it's an easy thing to do from, if you just look at it, but there's a lot of groundwork behind it. But we have also some information from our consulting engineer on it. So I understand that. We definitely are working our way through all the A, B, C, D, and E. So, we understand it. And we're also looking not just for decisions for today, but longer term, because that whole area is going to be continually developed on the east side, but also on the west side. Right. So you don't want to make a decision today and 3 years later, switch it around. So, Sean?
Yeah, so the airport committee meeting was actually really interesting because we had some folks from the Foskett, Deal Hollow kind of area that were there that are greatly motivated to see the flight pattern change. And then you had pilots and other airport stakeholders that I think I would say are curious about it, but not necessarily committed either. And so the white paper that actually the mayor mostly wrote up, it is pretty comprehensive in terms of the steps. This requires FAA consultation, a lot of kind of outreach to make sure it makes sense. And then the other component that we talked about during the meeting is that when you change something that may affect another area, you have a duty to try to speak with those people that it would affect in that new area, right? So it's not such that you change the flight pattern so it's going over less homes, so who cares? Those less homes, for the folks that, would be on the west side, deserve to have notification and have their voice heard about it too. So I think the idea after the meeting was to do a little bit of that outreach and also give everybody the opportunity to kind of digest some of the detail that's in the white paper and then come back and have a more specific discussion. And eventually it's going to make it to city council and you'll have to make a decision about whether you think it makes sense. But as the mayor's mentioned a bunch of times, it's not really just a discussion about noise impacts. It's also that this airport is growing finally, and there's going to be increased demand, and there's going to be increased development in and around the airport. And so what makes sense long-term in terms of flight pattern, safety. So we're way further along with it than I thought we would have been at this point.
Cool. And then the only other one was the Oak Tree Lane, and we covered that earlier. So that's all I got.
Okay, very good. Committee reports. We'll start with Ben.
Sure. I have PCTPA tomorrow morning, and their other stuff didn't have anything significant. And then also flood control is coming up.
Okay, very good. John, you covered for me on Pioneer.
Yep. Not a whole lot of stuff there. EDC is going through a strategic plan update. So later we're going to have a consultant helping us go through that, interview the committee, stakeholders, narrow down our list of targets to something that's manageable for the next few years. So that'll probably come to us in a couple of months, early summer, I think. Also talked a little bit about the permit assistance program that Daniela and Aaron have been doing in the community, which is really exciting to help folks navigate the city when they need help doing the variety of things you need the city to help you do. Attended Western Placer Waste Management Authority. We had an initial review of our budget, and right now it's slated to have a 0 tipping fee for next year, fiscal year. And then also attended LISWA, where we reviewed a potential, the expansion of and retrofit and upgrade of the site.
Okay. We've already talked a little bit about the airport committee with the pattern change. We also talked about what's going on with the hangar bill, which is coming along very, very well. We talked about another options that are out there. We did have a Zoom conference with professional airport management that is going to be out there. We're finalizing a contract. Very excited about it because one thing that this is a growing airport. It's complex, and having professional management out there to provide the guidance as we move forward is going to be very, very important. Whitney.
You both covered all of my committees that I was in the room with you.
Okay,
But
Ellie.
I was gonna say, I'll add on my 2 cents. I'm interested to get more information from the airport management firm that we're consulting with right now and exploring, because they are really knowledgeable, and I think it's really great that you found them. And it sounds I'm optimistic about what they can bring to our airport as we grow and it becomes, what we hope. Yeah.
Holly. Okay.
I'm going to do one thing on Pioneer, which I should have mentioned, is this one happened at the meeting you attended, but they reaffirmed that there'll be a rate cut at Pioneer for their portion. There's a whole complicated thing going on there about explaining this to ratepayers who use Pioneer, but it should represent a 10% discount to PG&E's generation rates.
But there's still other complications on top of that, so it's very complicated.
It always is.
Very complicated.
PG&E's
on a one-time shot, most likely. Okay, information items. Holly, we'll start with you.
I asked my question. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, me too. Ben, okay, that's good. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay,
Thank you.
10 of 8, we're out. Okay.